Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning, and I'll be honest, I forgot to start recording when I first came out here. You might hear the dust collector winding down because I'm out here today. I've got several videos backed up for you guys to drop the next 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm not really going to work on a pin today. I'm just experimenting, and I've got two projects going. Let me flip around and show them to you. The first one we talked a little bit about the other day, and that's going to be a new Chaos blank. I am still going to dig around up in the loft to see if I can come up with one more contrasting color, maybe to set that off. Don't know yet, but that's what that's going to be when I get to it. And over here, I've got some, I don't know, let's call them roughly 1/4 of an inch, or maybe they're 3/8. I'm not exactly sure. But they're all the same thickness, and I'm going to cut some strips off of them to make a simple, yet I think fairly elegant segmented blank, or at least in my mind it is. So we're just going to see how that works out. And if it works, you guys will see the progress today. And if it works out, we'll make a few of them and we'll turn one. And I don't know, if they go over really well, maybe I'll sell a few of them. Who knows? But that's what I'm going to work on right now. I just got done squaring up those pieces, and I've got my little jig out here. This allows me to cut strips the exact length or exact width that I want. Before I do that, I've got to put some tape over my my insert here, because I do not have a zero clearance insert, and I've been looking for one online. But for Porter cable, I've got this Porter cable table saw, and it's the model PCB 270TS. And when I try to look it up, it must be this insert can be used on multiple saws. I don't know, but I cannot find a zero clearance insert for my table saw. So if anybody out there knows where they can find one online, shoot me a link. I'd love to have it, because I really need a zero clearance. Because when you cut small strips, like, take a look at this. See, if you cut a strip that small, that basically, it starts going right down into the slot here, and then it throws it back at you. It just makes it very dangerous. And so I use tape over this to kind of stop that a little bit. But I would really like to get the right insert so that this is as safe of a operation as possible. So yeah, if you know, let me know. Appreciate it. I'll keep you posted on what's happening throughout the day. Got a bunch of really nice strips cut. This is what I'm going to work on here for a few minutes. I'm going to get some of these glued up so that I can start thinking about making the pin blank I want to make. And while that glue is drying, we're going to start cutting this wood. I finished up all of my cuts, and I've got these laid together. I don't think I like this one. This piece of wood is just a little too dark. I need to probably lighten that up, or maybe, I don't know. The Padauk does a much nicer job. Padauk, however you say it. I really like the looks of that. That's aspen, Padauk, and walnut. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this up, and then once it dries, we'll move on with the next phase of what I plan to do with this. In the meantime, as I mentioned, we'll start cutting all of those goodies out. I just finished the glue up. There it is, looking great. I tried to be really careful not to get too much squeeze out, but honestly, this is the face, so everything there is going to get turned away. I'm really concerned about this edge, and no glue was put on this edge or this edge, so I don't think there should be an issue, but it's looking pretty good. I'm going to set it aside to dry, and I'm going to turn my attention to this pile. I've been over here cutting for a while. You can see my zero clearance insert there, a little bit of painter's tape. The pile's gone down a tiny bit, but I haven't started really cutting on that yet because I've been making these. This is a piece of Ippy, and these are 1/16 of an inch Ippy strips. These piles are just some Kamaru boards. There's Kamaru right there, what it looks like. This is all flooring material that I got. It was, scraps that was actually going to go in a dumpster. So I cut 4 boards into 16-inch strips. I got a ton of strips. They look a little bit different, but I had more of the Kamaru than I did the Ippy, so I went ahead and stopped. And I thought, well, I'll primarily work with this, and I'll kind of save this for some smaller glue ups. But now what I've got to do is I need to get this oak cut into 1/4-inch slices so that I can start inserting that between them and gluing them up. The other thing that I want to do, I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to use the maple or not. I think I may just try going straight up oak with a single color insert, because I had 2 or 3 colors last time. I just didn't have, a decent amount of 16th inch strips. I had a bunch, but they didn't go as far as I needed them to go. I started with too big of a block. And you can see I've got a nice big oak block here. So I probably, looks like it could use a little squaring up. Yeah, I may just go ahead and square it up and then start cutting into the 3/4 inch pieces and begin the glue up process. I finished cutting up that large oak blank and it yielded 19 3/4 inch blanks. This was the little last cutoff piece. I used my little jig here for, this is what I use to cut, rip thin strips. I use it to rip all of these. It's a real handy little jig. I got it on Amazon. It may be listed in my videos as a thin rip jig or a thin rip fence. And then of course I use this just to keep my fingers out of the way of the blade. For the most part I used, you can't really see it there, but I used my miter just to cut the pieces off. And then when I got down to the last 4 or 5, I had to move to this just because, and you can see those blocks of wood? Normally this runs on this side of the blade, but since I had my rip fence here, I just reversed them. This jig is set up to work on either side of the blade. So then I just held the blank there and zip, knocked off 3/4 of an inch, bam, bam, bam. And I got 19 blanks to start with. So now what we got to do is we need to start gluing these up and putting the thin strips between them. So that's the next step. And the other thing I want to try to do is I got 19. I probably will try to, you know, put these together in just a larger blank, so that way to make it a little easier for cutting the excuse me, the 30 degrees or whatever degree I decide to use angles on them. And it'll also allow these to work a little better because these, let me show you. You know, if you're going like this, okay, it's a lot easier on a narrower blank than it is on a longer blank. I'd have to use 2 pieces and try to get them to, you know, try to get them to where they were together so there's no voids in the blank. So, you know, just got to kind of think these things out, and that's what I'm doing today. And plus, I still have that little dude there that's been drying for a long time. I'm sure it's ready to come out of clamps. I'll probably go ahead and remove it. And that's a onesie-twosie blank, I think. So I don't know that I'll do a whole lot more on that one today, maybe later. I do want to get the glue ups going on these first. So we're going to start on that. Had to take a little break, but I'm back in the shop and I just finished up my first round of glue ups. What I learned is I did not glue up 8 and 9 because there were 19. So if you get rid of the odd one, you've got 18. And if I want to stack them on top of each other, I have to have 1 on each end to make the top and the bottom half. So there'll be 4 top, 4 bottom, and then I'll just add one of these to the end of that one and that one. And then I can make a nice dimensional piece. I can mount it together and it'll let me cut, as I showed earlier, and use these strips a lot more efficiently, because you can see with these being this long, I had to cut a piece off of each strip to make it work. So I'm going to hang on to these because I can piece them together, and there may be areas where I can use smaller ones. But, you know, like I said, you try to reduce the waste as much as possible. But I'm pretty excited that that they're getting glued up. So we're going to let those dry for a while, and I'm going to go fiddle with the other blank, which is right here, and just play around with that one for a little bit while I let the glue set up on those, and then we'll hopefully be doing some more glue ups tonight. I just finished the glue up on this one. You can start to kind of see where I'm going with it. Hopefully in a little bit when it dries and I'm able to cut some blanks, you'll get a better idea. I think this one's going to look really good. I'm excited about it. I had to take a couple of these that had been sitting for a while out of clamps because I need the clamps there. I'm going to go ahead and unclamp the rest of them, and we're going to get back to gluing these up and, you know, making the larger blocks out of these blanks. Just finished the second glue up. I took the spare block that I had and glued it to, these are the end pieces. So this is, there it is, 7, 8. I put 9 on there, and then that's 11, 12, so 10 got added to there. They are in reverse because as I cut them off, I cut from the left-hand side of the blade, so that's why my pieces are in reverse. The other 3 sets of 2, I've gone ahead and glued both of those up. They're drying. When the glue is dry, we'll obviously add one of these to each of those, and then we'll square the ends, and we'll glue this set to that set to make a nice, relatively square block that we'll begin cutting on the table saw into 30-degree segments, which we will again put these veneers between and glue up. That is not quite ready. I want that to dry a little longer. It's so cold out here that my glue is drying way slower than it usually does. I'm going to let that set for a while. I'm going to find something else to goof off with. And when that's finally dry, we'll cut that into some segments and see how she looks. So I'm pretty happy with the progress. been a fun day out here, just kind of playing and not really having anything that I have to do. Well, guys, I'm going to call it here. I went ahead and those are still in glue up. I pulled this one out of glue up. There's still a little bit of tacky glue on it. It's just, it's not really wet, but it's tacky, and I don't want to put it on my sled because sometimes it sticks to it. I'm going to call it because one of my kids is home, and I got another one that'll be home within an hour, and the third one who should be home anytime within an hour to 2 hours. So I'm going to go in, get a shower, hang out with the family, and enjoy the rest of the night. I'll be back out here sometime again over this Thanksgiving week doing some more work, and I'll show you how these blanks progress. I'm excited to continue to work on them, and that's what I plan to do since I'm ahead on videos for you guys. And I got 3 videos here that are real close to being finished. So at some point I'll finish those up, and that'll give me 3 more, and I can afford to play a little bit. Hopefully I'll have some cool blanks to show you guys pretty soon. But that's it. I'm taking the rest of the night off. Want you guys to have a great evening, and I will see you again very, very soon.